Okay, today I'm recording from my house because I'm home because my son broke his ankle. And we're going to do some weaving. And I don't really like to do weaving, but this is going to be a little more fun because you're going to get to paint. Now, the only thing that I had at home was watercolors. So you can use watercolors, you can use tempera, you can use markers, you could even use crayons. The only thing that I wouldn't suggest using would be oil pastels because they would be smeary. And the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to paint one sheet that's the cool colors. That's blue, green, and purple. And then you're going to have another sheet that's going to be the warm colors. And that is going to be the red, orange, and yellow. And if you look on your watercolors, they're actually lined up together. So this would be the warm, and this would be the cool. I did a swirl. The lesson that I had found was a swirl, and that's where you start in the center and it'll look like a cinnamon roll, and you go all the way out with your paint and you do dashed lines. If you want to paint anything, I mean, you could do, as long as you have the warm color and the cool color, it doesn't matter to me, and you have to fill up the entire page. So maybe you want to just have like a camouflage look of different colors of warm and different colors of cool. It's totally up to you. So this will take 2 different class periods because this is going to have to dry. So you'll paint the cool, you'll paint the warm, and the most important part is that you have your name on the back of both of them. Now what I want to show you when you're doing, I already started weaving, actually started a video and it didn't record, so I had to restart it. So I've got this part started. But what you'll do after you come back the second time, you will fold this in half, and I'm going to start using something called a shoulder buddy. What that means is the person next to you, ask them before you cut. You're going to fold this in half, this large 12 by 18 paper, and make sure that the crease right here is facing you. So ask your shoulder buddy after you get it drawn before you cut. You're going to set your ruler here, and you just need light lines drawn across the top. Then you're going to set your ruler and go all the way across and draw your strips. Then, after you checked with your shoulder buddy to make sure that you're going to have the opening at top, you're going to cut it. So after you have it cut, then you'll have a mat that looks like this. Then what I want you to do is you're going to take your warm color and you're going to turn it over, and then you're going to go all the way across with your ruler, doing just ruler spaces. And the most important part of this is that it needs to be numbered. I've already started weaving, like I said, so I have 1, 2, 3 is already in my weaving. Then I have 4, 5, 6. What the most important part is when you're putting them together and you're weaving, and I'm going to show you that you see a pattern, it's alternating over, under, and then you start a new pattern. And what's going to happen is an optical illusion of a swirl. Then I come to the next one, and you only cut one at a time. Now, with a straight line, you can munch, meaning you don't have to nibble with your scissors. So you can munch, go all the way up, cut the strip, and then you put your paper down and you don't cut anymore. Then see how I have the number 4, and then I have the number 3 here, so it's at the bottom. Now this here was on top of the paper. Now I'm going to start under the paper. Now do you see how I'm lifting it up very carefully? Makes it easier to weave. Then I've got my repeated pattern. If you have them where they're the same, if I had warm, right here, if you can see that, you see how it's warm? I didn't alternate, so I pull it back out, slide it back out, and then go all the way. Now, I think it's a good idea to flip it over at the end and tighten it, because if there was you can see it got stuck there because of my cutting. If you folded this up a little bit, so you would start all the way at the bottom, move it up with your fingernails gently. But if I accidentally made this bumpy, it wouldn't matter because it's on the back. Now you can see where I have 2, 4, because the other ones are odd and they're underneath. Turn it back over, go back to my strip, and then at the end, you're going to take make sure they're lined up all the way nice and tight. Take your glue stick and glue it down and press it down. Then I go to 5, same thing, and you want to have this be as straight as possible when you're cutting. Do one at a time. And I'm kind of interested to see what they look like. There's a 5 at the bottom, so that was under the paper. Now I'm going to be on the paper. and it's every other row is the same. I have a big sample of this on the board in the classroom where we're going to talk about weaving, but I think this makes weaving a little more interesting because it's not just your basic paper weaving. And then when you get going, you can kind of see the illusion of the swirl. So that's your project.